going to try and do something a little different today. I'm going to try and film this video without editing it. I actually filmed this the other day and I've been in the van editing it, and I just feel like I didn't completely portray everything I wanted to say. I feel like it just didn't feel genuine. And so I'm going to try and keep going and just keep filming and spitting out words that are coming to me, because I feel like I need to be more genuine with this video. It was originally going to be about the benefits of nature, but I've been sitting at this campground for a couple of weeks now, and I've been doing like a bunch of different videos because it's so great. I've got the peace and quiet and time, so I thought I'll get a few weeks of videos done because I've got quite a bit coming up to do in Perth, you know, Christmas crazy period. Anyway, I went for a little bit of a walk and then I came back to the van because I just thought, I think this video needs to be something a little different. And whilst the benefits of nature are what I want to talk about, I think it's actually bigger than that. I've felt a little bit of a shift again in me, and I'm sorry, I feel very emotional this afternoon. I felt a little bit of a shift in doing all these videos recently while I've been here, and quite often when I'm on my own camping away from, you know, the noise of society and around other people, I feel a little bit like it's almost like channeling, you know, you feel like you're getting inspiration from somewhere else. And so I apologise to anyone who is not spiritual or, you know, along that line of thinking, but this video is going to contain a little bit of that. So I think I figured out a couple of things, and one being that, you know, with my channel, when I first started YouTube, I wasn't quite sure what I was doing, like what I was filming, and I just kind of started filming my adventures out into nature because I loved being out here. Like this is what I love. And so I started there, but it wasn't really until I started doing my van life videos that my channel took off a little bit. And I think that's because those videos are a bit more informative, and that's what YouTube is about. I wonder maybe if it's a bit harder to sort of, you know, get your message out there when you're just visiting different places, because it's not that informative. It's kind of like, look at this place, it's so awesome, you know. Anyway, maybe I'm digressing. We're not editing though. I'm gonna gather my thoughts. So I was thinking about my channel again today, and I did write myself a mission statement, and I don't, like, this was maybe a couple of years ago, and I don't think that mission statement has changed much. Like, my mission was to get people to connect with nature more because it's brought so much joy to my life, and I think that is still the aim for me. I'm just going to tap my GoPro so I can see what I'm looking at. That is still my aim. But recently I've almost figured out that it's my purpose. You know, like I was thinking about someone asking me the question, why do I do YouTube? And there's never actually been a moment where I've thought, oh, I'm going to give up. Like it's almost not an option for me. And I'm getting emotional. What's going on? And so it's never been that I'm going to give it up ever. Like I just love doing it. And I have to admit, when I do the van life videos, like they are more informative, and I'm so grateful that, you know, people find them helpful. And I think it's part of what I need to do as part of my purpose, because part of encouraging people to get out here more, van life really enables that lifestyle, you know. And I think that's why I love van life so much, because I can be out here and capturing it on film. It's a real passion for me. I I get so excited by it, and I just want to show it to you all. And so when I say that I think I figured out that it's my purpose, like it's not just a passion, I'm feeling it in my body today, that it's my purpose, like it's the reason I was put here to do this. And whilst I'm kind of still figuring it out as I go, when I'm capturing it on film and bringing it to you, I feel that's making a difference. Because, and I think I'm going to take this moment now, centering my thoughts again, to talk about something in the video that I was putting together earlier, is that, you know, I think, like this, just going to tap my GoPro again. Nature is this, it's a perfect chaos, you know, like, it's a mess when you look at it. But how perfect is it? Like, it's so perfect. You know, nothing is the same. There's no uniformity to it. It's mishmash. There's like so many different shades of green. It's so perfect, and perfect to the point that you have something like the golden ratio, which I'm not a mathematician or scientist, so I'm not going to try and really explain it, but it's something to do with how there's this repetition, this ratio that you can find in nature everywhere. So it's like, no, I'm not quite sure how to explain it, but there's a mathematical ratio that's in nature. So there is, even though it looks like chaos, there is a perfection to it. There's the black cockatoos in the background. And I think that's so beautiful, you know, and if you put the science aside, there's something energetic about it that you can't see. You can feel it. And I spoke about this in one of my videos recently when I was talking about health. I get so distracted by those black cockatoos. And I spoke about health, and I talked about how, you know, when trees actually have like an essential oil, which is their natural defense mechanism or their immune system. And when we're walking past these trees, we're actually taking those, it's called phytoncides, and we're taking those phytoncides into our body, and it's actually boosting our immune system without us even knowing it. You know, you might feel good when you've been out in nature, and that's probably why, because it's physically affecting you without you even knowing it. And oh, they're in a tree just up there. So there's the physical side, the physical benefits of nature, and also it's like makes your body physically strong being out here. Maybe that's a sign from spirit that I'm doing the right video here. And so there's that physical side of it, you know, when you're walking out in nature, you're feeling good because you're getting your body moving. But there's an unconscious or unseen benefit, whether that's emotionally or spiritually, but you know, I think there's a reason why a lot of Australians choose camping as their holiday of choice, you know, because there's a lot of inconveniences to camping. You know, you got to pack everything up, you've got to sleep rough, and you know, go to the bush loo, and you know, it's a bit of a hassle, but we love it. A lot of people love it, some don't. And so I think that, you know, there's got to be a reason for that. You know, it's part of being in the great outdoors. And the kids love it because they get to get dirty, you know, they get to forage and just discover new animals, and it's way nature intended us to be, you know, when we're not inside concrete walls and you know, breathing artificial air, recycled air. And that sort of leads me on to what nature gives us. You know, these trees, these beautiful, magical trees, are literally giving us air to breathe. Like we literally couldn't live without the trees and the plants giving us oxygen. You know, is that not just, like, that's the first thing we need as humans, is oxygen. And all these trees, these beautiful trees, give it to us. And then there's the wildlife. And so you've got, you know, birds. If I don't tap my GoPro, I can't see myself on the screen. I don't know if I'm in shot. The wildlife, you know, there's so much that wildlife does for us that we don't maybe even know, but we don't really think about. You know, the birds, they will spread seeds, you know, they will, you know, like the black cockatoos, they hack into the gum nuts, and by doing that, they're dropping the seed from the gum nuts. The flying foxbats, they will germinate seeds everywhere as they eat different species of plants as it goes, and then they fly so far at night just spreading that seed. And bees pollinate our food, you know, so wildlife does a lot for us as well. And it's once again, it's this magical chaos. Like, it's so perfect. It just astounds me that, you know, how did this happen? Maybe I'm having a spiritual moment today, just marveling at everything. And it's a little bit of what I felt called to talk about today too, is that I was brought up in a Catholic family, and, you know, like, we weren't heavily religious or anything, but I went to Catholic schools, and I didn't really take to religion. I saw a lot of holes in it, and I probably, if anything, became anti it. And it wasn't till I've sort of always been a bit spiritual, and so my whole life I've kind of been working that path out for myself. But then, as Mum says, you know, she does go to church occasionally, and, you know, she says to me that nature is my church. And it's so true, because when I'm out here, I feel like whatever it is that is greater than us is here with me here, you know, whether that's God or Allah or, you know, the universe, whatever it is. I don't particularly care what the name is. I just know that I feel it, and that's what nature does for me. I think being out here, I don't feel judged. I just feel love, you know, like, it just brings me so much joy. And I think that's what my purpose is. I think my purpose is to bring you all this, because you might find that it gives you the same amount of joy that it gives me. You know, maybe it might be that you think, oh, she lives a wonderful life, I want to give van life a go. But if you're not in alignment with being out in nature and feeling and appreciating everything it has to give us, it might not be the wonderful life you expect or want it to be. Because I think that's a big part of van life. I think a lot of us that do it, this is where we want to be, out here, you know? And maybe that's all I needed to say today. I feel like I have gotten across in a more genuine way what I was trying to say, not so edited. There's my black cockatoos giving me confirmation. So, yeah, I think also another benefit is, you know, getting your feet in the dirt too. Just grounding yourself, because everything on the earth is energy. Science will tell you that too. It's all energy, and the earth is our grounding energy. So if you're ever feeling discombobulated, you might find if you step outside, take your shoes off, get your feet dirty, you might just feel a whole lot better. So I hope that I'm going to stop and take some footage, I think, of these cockatoos as soon as I can see them, because they sound very close. I think that that's all I really wanted to say today. I hope that some of this has resonated with you. It's inspired you to get out here more, appreciate it more, say thank you to the trees for giving you oxygen. I believe they can hear you. So yeah, enjoy. I'm going to leave you with some footage I've taken over this last year with my camera of some amazing wildlife and nature. Thanks for listening. Sorry, this wasn't editing. I literally forgot to say some things, but I've stopped because I tried to get those canopies earlier, but they were too far away. And I'm walking along this path and I can hear like all these cracks happening in the bush. And I thought, oh, maybe it's kangaroos because there's some kangaroo footprints on this ground. But then I realised it's coming from the top of the tree. So when you hear like a bit of a, you know, a missile, projectile coming from the tree, it's generally, you know, something big like a black cockatoo. He's just up here. And there's another one, which I haven't found yet, just over there. And the other day they were actually all around my van and it was just projectiles. I thought, God, if I stick my head out of my van, I'm going to get knocked out. But there was something else I wanted to say, is that, you know, I was talking earlier in the video about nature, you know, we depend on it so much to live. But, you know, if us humans were to exit this earth tomorrow, nature would thrive. You know, nature doesn't need us, but we do need nature. So I think that sentence right there is kind of my motto. You know, we need this. So we need to look after it, because if we throw out, yeah, that's what I just say. I feel like I'm getting emotional now. If we throw out the balance and we ruin what nature is giving us for free without any expectation of us in return, you know, we're just shooting ourselves in the foot. You know, it gives us so much. So yeah, I think we owe it to our natural environment to take care of it and love it and give it gratitude.